Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This video is kind of a little different. I'm gonna tell you guys a story about the time I got kidnapped, like no joke. All right, so this happened like maybe 2 years ago. Yeah, I think 2 years ago. So one night my friend and I, we went to the club and we got there and she's like, I think we should get some drink at the bar first. And I'm like, okay, no problem. Anyways, we went to the bar and I don't even know what happened because I wanted a margarita and for some reason I got a mojito. No, I got a martini. But let me tell you guys a funny story behind that. I ordered a drink. So a few seconds after, the bartender came back and she's like, do you want olives? And in my mind I'm like, people don't put olive in a margarita. But anyways, sometimes there are some places and you just don't want to look like you're the dumb person, so I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, no problem. I need olives. 2 seconds after, she came back with this fancy cup, this little cute sleek straw, and I'm like, okay, this is definitely not a margarita. Got the drink. Oh my god, the gin in the drink was so strong, so I started like drinking and I'm like, oh my god, I don't know if I can drink this because it's too strong. And my friend is like, do you want to change it? But I don't really like when I go to like hotels and like restaurants, I don't really like to be problematic, you know. Something has to be like really bad for me to be like, could you change this, or I need a different order or something like that. So so I said to her, you know, it's not a big deal, I'll just drink it, even though the I don't know if it's just gin and straw and olives, but it was like super strong. So I was like, I'll just drink it, and if by the time we go to the club I'm still feeling like I'm about to be drunk, I'll just like not have anything else to drink. All right, so I had only one drink at the bar. We went to the club, started dancing and stuff, and I wasn't drunk and I don't even know if I was tipsy, but my knees were like so weak, like so I felt so weak because I don't know, I guess the gin was like super strong. So I'm in the club and this guy walked past me and then he turned back around and he's like, Chantilly. I'm like, well, Chantilly. And so I'm like, walk on. He's like, the whole night me in that club I look for you, you know, and I wonder I wish girl this, but me never know say you. So I said to him, say, oh, because me not there at work, because most times he would see me at work, but to be honest, I'll be looking like a bum when I'm at work, okay? So I guess like people who are not used to like seeing me outside of work or like going to somewhere, they don't really know that I'm, you know, capable of being fly. I don't know. So he said that and we talked for a little, and then he was leaving. He was like, my friend wants to say hi to you, who is a guy, of course. So I'm like, so I turned around because they were standing behind me, and I'm like, oh, you could tell him to come and say hi, because I'm like, this is like the 21st century. You don't do that dumb shit. Like, you say hi to someone if you want to, you don't be like, oh, my friend wants to say hi. But anyways, the guy came over, so the friend came over and he was like, hi, if I'm good and stuff, and then he left. All right, so the friend that came over is someone like I know him, is someone that I see every day while I'm at work. We've never like spoken outside of work, but he's always like so polite, you know. And not for nothing, like not all Jamaican guys are polite, and I just always I'm just always like admiring him, not in an intimate way, but just to say that he's so respectful. We're at the club, yeah, it's time for us to go home, and I'm outside standing with my friend. Usually at the time where I was living, it's like walking distance to the club, so sometimes I'll walk home. So my friend was like, are you walking home or are you gonna take an Uber? But I said to her, like, I'm so weak from this one drink that I had how many hours ago. I don't think it's like it's right, it's okay for me to like walk home. So at the same, so she's like, okay, let's walk to the hotel, and when I got there I'm going to request my cab and you'll request your Uber. So I'm like, okay, deal. She saw, my friend saw some of her friends, so she started like talking to them, and then same time the guy the guy friend, so the friend came back to me and he's like, oh, do you want to ride home? So so I'm like, yeah. So at the same time, so I was like, yeah, you know, like my friend kind of felt away because I agreed to follow her like halfway to get her cab, but I'm like, at least it's free ride and I don't have to like pay Uber or something to get home. Anyways, here's the funny part of the story. Dumb stuff always happened to me, and I don't know if it's because I'm such a nice person, well, sometimes, but I don't know, I don't know if you guys like meet people who instantly like don't trust people. Like, I'm not like that. I feel like you have to like hurt me or disappoint me for me to be like, or do something, sorry, or at least do something for me to be like, I can't trust this person, I can't trust this girl, or I can't trust this guy. But anyways, the guy offered me a ride home, got in the car. Got in the car. So at the time where I was living, it's like, let me see, so there's like, it's the main road and then there's 4 left turns. I can take any of the 4 left turns to go home. So the first left turn he didn't take, and at first I was like, it's kind of understandable because it's like a lot of traffic there, so maybe he's not going to he's not going to like drive that direction. So first left turn he passed, second left turn he passed, third left turn he passed. It's like I can't even take it anymore. Like, at that moment I'm like, do you know where I live? And he's like, yeah, I know where he lives. And I'm like, okay. I don't know, maybe he's trying to drive around the world before I actually get home. So I'm sitting there, we're driving, and then then he turned off before the 4th left turn, right? When he turned off, at that moment I was like, where are we going? And he's like, we're going to a house party. Like, at that time I was like a little mad because I'm like, who does that? Like, don't offer me a ride home and you know all along that you don't plan to, or at least you don't plan to take me home immediately. So we got to the house where the house party is, and before I got out of the car, I was like, I asked him, I was like, who is at the house party? Is it like Jamaicans and stuff? And he's like, yes. And I'm like, I don't really know if I want to go inside because I don't really know you like that, and if I go into the party with you, people are just going to automatically assume that we're together, we're dating, or we're hooking up or whatever, so I don't want to go in. And in that moment he was like, well, if you feel that way, I think you could just come inside and see, and if you feel uncomfortable you could leave, you know. So at that point I'm like, okay, such a, you know, considerate guy, even though he did like pass my house before, but I was like, okay, he's being considerate. Went into the house. Nobody in the house, like nobody is in the house. And well, lie, a guy was in the house downstairs watching TV, right? So in my mind I'm like, maybe this is like a silent party, and people, you know, because at that time I think people were doing like the silent party with the headphones, so I'm like, probably it's a silent party because this is ridiculous. So he's like, come on, come upstairs. Went upstairs, reach into a bedroom, nobody, no music, no, like literally nobody's in the house but us and I guess the guy that was downstairs. At that time I just like, I sat on the bed because like honestly I was so weak from that martini that I couldn't even stand up any longer, so I was just sitting on the bed. And I'm sitting there and he's and then he's like, do you have a boyfriend? And I'm like, Jesus Christ, here you know. So I said to him yes, and he's like, I think you should break up with your boyfriend. So I was like, what? Like, I don't even know, like, why would you say that, you know? But anyways, I'm there and I'm like, I started texting my friends. I have like a group chat with two of my friends, so I started like texting them, but I was like so weak. I felt like everything was in slow motion, so I stopped texting because clearly there's no progress. I'm trying to explain to them where I'm at and what's happening, but I wasn't drunk, but I was so weak. Like I was so weak, and I keep on saying to him, I want to go home, I want to go home, I want to go home. So like he's like, no, you should stay with me until the morning. I'm like, I want to go home, I'm working early in the morning and I want to go home. And at that point I got like, so I wasn't upset, like I wasn't being loud or anything, but I was like raging inside because I'm like, he eventually like got up and was like, okay, I'll take you home. So he took me home, and on the way home he didn't like say anything to me. And when I got home I just like got out of the car and went in the house because I was so disappointed, you know, like I was upset but I was so disappointed because I feel like, come on, don't do that. In the moment I felt like I don't even know how to explain it, but I kind of feel like I trust you, you know, like you're not a complete stranger. Like clearly we've never spoken like outside of work, but you're someone who comes to my job like 2-3 times a day. I don't expect you to be doing stuff like that. And the next day I like sent him a long message. I'm like, don't do that. I'm like, I don't know what type of girls you're used to, but I'm not that type of girl. And I kind of feel violated because I feel like you should have, even if you don't like me, I would feel like me in an intimate way. I kind of feel like I would have felt better if he came to me after the club and said like, oh, can we hang out or something. Like clearly I would have said no, but at least I would know what his intentions are, you know, or were at the time. So I felt like so upset, and I felt so upset and I felt so disappointed. I don't know, like the weirdest stuff always happened to me because I just like always like trust people, you know, before they like mess up. And then after that it became like so awkward because I'm like, I have to see you like tomorrow after you do that dumb shit last night. Like after you did that dumb, you know, like you I don't know. But anyways, I sent him a message, and then I sent him the message telling him how I felt, and I didn't see him. He's like stopped coming to my job like for maybe like 3-4 months, and then I don't know, I just feel like so violated. And like now when I see him it's like a little different, but like every time I see him that's the first thing I remember, because I'm like so disappointed. I thought you were like a respectable person and somebody who would like literally give me a ride home without like trying to kidnap me or something. But yeah, that's the end of the story. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoy this story time, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.